Hi everybody, it's Doreen and I'm back today with an anniversary card. So come on and join me and I'm going to show you how I made this card. Okay everybody, so I'm going to bring up my supplies so we can get started making the card. First of all, my card measures 8.5 by 5.5 and I've taken it and scored it in half to make it a 4.25 by 5.5 inch card. So now what I want to go ahead and do is add my next layer, and this layer measures 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, and I'm going to lay that on top of my card. And this time I'm not going to ink any of my edges, at least not on these two layers. So let's go ahead and get the ATG gun and go ahead and tape this down. But before I do that, I think I want to go ahead and add on my top layer. Or no, I'm not going to. I'm just going to go ahead and do this one first. So let's go ahead and tape the edges. And then we'll put some tape down in the middle. And I've got my card folded out so we can go ahead and just add this layer. And actually the card itself is just a some manila cardstock that I had. And then this top layer is some glimmer paper that I picked up several years ago when I went to a scrapbooking show. So now, before we go ahead and add the top layer, I'm just going to go ahead and lay this out. And what I've done ahead of time is I've taken some trim that I had that had pearls on it, and it looks like this. This is what I have left over. And I picked this up at Hobby Lobby. And I just want to lay it down just to see how it's going to look. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my silhouette on along with my happy anniversary. So now that I know that's how I'm going to have it on the card, I'm going to go ahead and lay down the top layer. So let's go ahead and do that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put my tape up here at the top with my ATG gun, and then I think I'm going to use my glue gun to adhere down that bottom layer. So I'm just going to go on the edges here, and then right above where the trim is, and go down in the middle. And then I'm going to add some glue down along the bottom here with my glue gun, because I want to make sure this really sticks down since it is so thick and heavy. So I'm going to line it up and then just go ahead and push down. So now I've gotten my top layer on. And I also did go ahead and glue this down ahead of time, if I didn't say that before, because I was concerned about that coming up if I just taped it. So I did take the glue gun and adhere it to the top layer. So now we're ready to go ahead and add the rest of our embellishments on the top of the card. Now, this image came from the, let me check, Sweethearts cartridge. And that is, let's see which key that is. It is key number 9, which is right here, and it looks like this. And I went ahead and I cut that out at 3 inches. And the page number in the handout is page 40. And I cut this one out right here. Now if you notice on mine, I have the lady on the left rather than on the right, because on the original one she's on the left. Well, the reason why I did that is because when I cut this out, I decided that I was going to go ahead and ink it with my walnut stain Distress Ink by Tim Holtz. After I did that, I decided I really didn't like that color. So rather than cut it again, I just flipped it over. So it actually looks like this on this side. And I just took it and flipped it over because I didn't want to cut it again. I thought, why waste the paper when I can just have her on the other side. So I'm going to lay this image right here. And then I went ahead and I cut out, using my Cricut and the Gypsy, Happy Anniversary. And you might not be able to pick that up with the camera, but I took it and just cut it out with some manila cardstock, and then I took some of the watercolor paints that I've got. And I did get a request from someone asking me where I picked up my watercolor paints. I got this set of watercolor paints at Michael's in the art section, and it was only $4.99, and I used a 40% coupon. And then for the iridescent medium, which I use with the watercolor paints, it looks like this, and it's by Winsor and Newton, and I picked that up as well at Michael's in the art section, and I believe it was $7.99, and I had my husband use the other 40% coupon I had. So now, the Happy Anniversary, like I said before, came from the Elegant Cake Art Cricut cartridge by Martha Stewart. It looks like this. And it is on page 59. And I cut out the phrase, Happy Anniversary, and then the shadow. And that is key number 24 on your Gypsy. So that's the shadow. And that's the Happy Anniversary. Now, I cut those out. I took off the ratio button so that I could set up my own height and width, and that's that button that's right there. So this is actually cut out at 1.49 for the height and 2.73 for the width. I just had to cut it and squeeze it till I was able to fit it where I wanted to put it on the card. So now I've already gone ahead and popped my images up on with some clear foam tape. So I'm going to remove that. So now that we've gotten all the foam tape off, let's just go ahead and add this couple to the card. And I'm going to put them right there. So the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and remove the foam tape from the Happy Anniversary, and I'll add that to my card. So now I'm going to use my tweezers for this because I want to get this lined up. And I want to line it up, I think. Or maybe I don't need the tweezers. Okay, so I'm going to line it up right there. And the last thing I want to do for the front of the card is I want to go ahead and add my flower. Now, I've made another one of the flowers that I learned how to make on Kathy Ustream class. That's Kathy Paper Phenomenon. And I will put the link again in the video on her Ustream class on how to make the flowers. I've been making quite a bit of these. I really like this. This is really fun to make, and Kathy is so much fun to watch. So what I've done to make the flower is I've cut them out, and it uses the Paisley cartridge. And if you go to her web page, which is paperphenomenon.blogspot.com, she gives you the actual cut file for this flower and several other flowers. But when you cut them out, they look like this. And I just cut out, the way she has the cut file set up, it cuts out on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. And I just cut out several pages of them so that I have them handy. And then I took and I went ahead and glimmer misted the cream color cardstock. Now the glimmer mist is the glimmer mist that I've made up of my own. I use some of the Pearl X powders, and the color I used was an Aztec gold, an interference gold, an antique gold, and a vintage photo. And I mixed that together, and I added with that my glimmer mist pearl. And once that was on and I had set it with my heat tool, I then took the Super Quick Grip spray adhesive and sprayed the flower, and then I sprinkled some of the Martha Stewart copper glitter on the flower. And then I put a pearl in the middle. And when I sprayed it and put the glitter on, that made the pearl the same color as the flower. And then I just put a leaf on the back. And that's also with the cut file that Kathy gives you on her website. So now I'm just going to put that right here in the corner. And I'm going to take my glue gun and get some glue on there and just put that up here in the corner. So now that's the front of the card. Now I want to go ahead and add my sentiment for the inside. And what I've done is just taken some computer paper and printed out a sentiment from my computer, which says, "May you always drink together from the source of love, which is a mighty spring forever, pouring itself out for you. Happy anniversary." And I took the Martha Stewart doily punch and punched the edges. Now, as for the size of this, I didn't really measure it. I just cut it until I made it fit the way I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and just take my Tombow adhesive and add this, because this is really thin paper. It's just copy machine paper or computer paper, whichever you want to call it. And I'm going to go ahead and lay this down. And get it where I want it. So that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.